Do not be deceived by this creature's frightening appearance. Before you is a majestic and incredibly misunderstood species of shark. Here dwells a shark of placid nature that is harmless to humans and is often found to be quite friendly when approached, a species known as the grey nurse shark. Depending on the location in the world, the grey nurse shark is also commonly known as the sand tiger shark or the spotted ragged tooth shark. Grey nurse sharks are distributed in subtropical and temperate waters in the Atlantic, Mediterranean, South Africa, and the coasts around Australia and Southeast Asia. In Australia, high populations of these sharks are known to reside at Seal Rocks and Southwest Rocks on the north coast of New South Wales. The physical appearance of the grey nurse shark strongly reflects the many misconceptions the world has about the majority of shark species. This species has a stocky body, a grey to brown coloration on its upper body, and large sharp teeth that protrude in all directions, giving the species its deceivingly ferocious look. Grey nurse sharks commonly occur in schools of small to medium sizes. They tend to hover above seabeds and sandy bottom gutters, which gave rise to them being named sand tiger sharks in many regions, which also makes them easy targets. Although these sharks are very strong in their build, they are quite lethargic and are slow swimmers. Currently, they are the only known sharks that swim to the surface to gulp air and store it in the stomach to maintain buoyancy. Reproduction occurs using an uncommon method in this specific species. Female grey nurse sharks are oviviparous, meaning birth is given to live young, but there is no placental connection. Instead, the young are nourished by egg yolk. This species of shark are particularly unique, as the females have 2 wombs and, during the embryonal phase, the largest embryo feeds on the small ones, a phenomenon known as uterine cannibalism, resulting in only 1 or 2 pups being born. Since the realization that this species of shark is not a threat to humans, it has become a popular attraction for recreational scuba divers who wish to observe them. Recent studies have aimed to determine whether the presence of recreational divers have impacted on the behavioral patterns of grey nurse sharks. However, there has been no definitive correlation proven. Although the grey nurse sharks are typically harmless, there have been reports of attacks on divers during feeding or when the sharks have been provoked. Only 4 cases of divers being bitten have occurred, and all have been in captivity. These remarkable creatures were believed to have been locally extinct on Australia's east coast in the late 1800s due to being hunted because of their fierce appearance, recreational spear and game fishing, collection for aquariums, bycatch by commercial fisheries, and caught in mesh netting on offshore beaches. They were also heavily targeted for human consumption, specifically in shark fin soup and for oil that was used for burning in lamps. In 1984, following the dramatic population decline, grey nurse sharks became the first protected shark in the world. In 1996, the IUCN Red List declared the grey nurse shark as endangered worldwide. Then in 2000, the grey nurse shark was listed as critically endangered on the east coast of Australia and vulnerable on the west coast. With approximately 1,000 individual grey nurse sharks estimated in 2015, they are a high priority for conservation under the Department of Environment and Heritage Protection. After the Protection Act was introduced, the habitats for these species were located and incorporated into MPA, and grey nurse sharks occupy areas from surf zones to 190 metres below sea level, often around continental shelves, and their aggregated sites are found in 10 to 40 metre depths around steep-sided gutters with sandy substrate or rocky caves. There are 3 areas dedicated to these sharks in the Moreton Bay Marine Park, one in Great Sandy Marine Park, as well as Cherub's Cave, Flat Rock, Henderson Rock and Wolf Rock. Even with the protection of the grey nurse shark, the eastern Australian population has struggled to recover, with populations being suggested as low as 300 individuals in 2004. There are many reasons that may be the cause of this. One may be the shark's biological makeup as a K-selection species. However, the most prominent cause appears to be human influence and the fact that our knowledge of this species is significantly limited. The protected areas help, but particularly the lack of understanding of the grey nurse's migratory habits makes them less effective. Other threats posed are the continuous illegal fishing and accidental capture from commercial and recreational fishers. The 2011 Labor government of New South Wales provided provided the grey nurse shark additional protection by expanding their sanctuary zones and banning harmful forms of fishing at Green Rock and Fish Rock. However, the change in government in March of 2011 meant the withdrawal of these protection procedures. Although there was an overwhelming support from the public when these protection measures were introduced, the newly elected government of New South Wales decided a 200-metre protection zone surrounding the critical habitat area was enough, even after the independent advice given was 1,500-metre protection zones. The government claimed that there was no scientific evidence supporting the 1,500-metre zones, and one MP claimed that this was voodoo science. Despite the protection that has already been given to the grey nurse shark, there is still so much that could be done for this species. Ideally, conservation scientists aim to one day see this species removed from the threatened species list of the EPBC Act completely. In order to successfully recover the eastern Australian grey nurse shark population, we must ensure a coordinated effort is supported and enforced by all governments responsible for the waters grey nurse sharks are found in. Without protection measures implicated and imposed, the future of the eastern Australian grey nurse shark is uncertain and will possibly end in the extinction of yet another Australian icon, and possibly the first ever extinction of a shark species. An important principle of the EPBC Act is that where there are threats of serious or irreversible environmental damage, a lack of full scientific certainty should not be used as a reason for postponing cost-effective measures to prevent environmental degradation. The main threat of the grey nurse shark used to be the fishing of this species, although that has been illegal since 1996. Though for the past 20 years, the grey nurse shark populations have not recovered, meaning there are clearly other factors that threaten this species. The Australian government's grey nurse shark recovery plan highlights current threats as accidental or illegal capture by commercial or recreational fisheries and shark control activities such as beach meshing or drumlining, as well as the current threats that are posed to the grey nurse shark. Potential threats that they could face in the future are ecotourism, collection for public aquaria, pollution, disease, and ecosystem effects as a result of habitat modification and climate change. This includes changes in sea temperature and ocean acidification. As to what can be done to help this species further, there are currently several organisations taking steps towards a better future for the grey nurse shark. Since 2010, the CSIRO has been tracking the migratory patterns and locations of the grey nurse shark. This is aiding them to discover more locations that are critical to their survival, which should be protected. Another CSIRO study undertaken in 2011 shows the impact of the sex and maturity of the grey nurse shark on its activities, which is aiding in conservation strategies for the species. Studies such as these can provide support for local research and management programs and may aid with the conservation of the grey nurse shark species worldwide. Grey nurse sharks are a unique and beautifully natured species that are in serious need of our help. With very little conservation and protection efforts currently being done to save this species, it is up to us to spread knowledge to the public and to people in power to provoke change. While this harmless species may come across as unimportant, that is not the case. In some cultures, they are spiritually important, whilst in others they provide a major source of protein, as well as the fact that they play an important role in marine ecosystems. If an apex predator in an ecosystem no longer exists, other species are likely to take over the role, and this can cause an imbalance, giving rise to other issues. Just like many other species of shark, this grey nurse shark is misunderstood.
Slow ahead. I can go slow ahead. Come on down and chump some of this. You're gonna need a bigger boat.
So if you care about this species and other shark species and want to see them have a future, help make change and stop shark stereotypes. Support leaders who support ecology, who support conservation, and who support the protection of threatened species.